Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. And if you are new, click that little subscribe button down below and the notification bell right beside it to be notified every time I upload a new video. Today's video was requested for me to do, which is my tattoos and piercings video, basically giving a little background story on each tattoo and rating my pain on a scale of 1 to 10. I was a little hesitant on doing this video at first, and that is only because I only have so many piercings and tattoos, and I didn't know if this would be interesting enough or if it'd be boring or if it would be a really short video, but I thought since it was requested I would do it anyways. I do want to give a little disclaimer before I start, and that is everybody's pain threshold is different. Everybody handles pain differently. What I think is really painful could be nothing to you. What I think is nothing could be really painful to you. So don't take my opinions to heart. This is just how I interpret them, and this is just how they feel to me. So with that said, let's jump into today's video. So my very first piercing that I ever got, I got when I was 17, and that is my lip piercing. I did have parental consent. My mom did sign for this. It didn't really hurt that much. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it maybe a 6 or a 7. It felt like a little pinch. My next piercing that I got, I actually did have snake bites. I had both sides done. Little story behind this. Basically what happened was I got a little too cocky too soon, and I decided to change my piercing after only a couple weeks. I changed it into a stud, and because of that, the skin closed over the back of my piercing, and since you know with the stud, it has like a little back right here. So that back, the skin closed over it, and because of that I couldn't get the piercing out, and sadly I had to lose the piercing. I went to the hospital. It was a big ordeal. I had to get my lip refroze over and over again. First they tried a razor, and then finally they got it out with a scalpel. I do have a really big scar on the inside of my mouth, and because of that I cannot get that pierced again. Because of how much scar tissue is there, it's gonna hurt like 1,000 times worse. So I've just decided I'm just gonna leave it. I'm not gonna get it redone. I definitely suggest to leave your piercing for as long as your piercer says to leave it for. Don't change it sooner than they say to, or else you're risking going through what I had to go through. Next piercing that I got after that was my tongue piercing. This one I got when I was 17. I did have parental consent, but kind of not. My mom said I wasn't allowed to get another piercing till I was 18 because of what happened with this one. Because of that, I didn't want to have to wait till November because my birthday's in November. So I didn't want to have to wait till November, so I went to my grandmother and I told her, oh yeah, my mom said I can get it done. She just said you need to sign for it. It's just because she has to work. So she took me down. I got it done. Honestly, this one was a bit more painful than my lip piercings. This one I would give maybe a 7.5, maybe 8. If that. It just because your tongue is a muscle and it's a thicker muscle, it tends to hurt a bit more just because it is a muscle. It's not flesh. So I got it done. My tongue, it did swell up. I couldn't eat properly. I pretty much only was able to eat like jello and soup and just things that were really easy to swallow. I didn't have to do much chewing. And that the swelling went down after a few days. So the next piercing that I got was my septum piercing. This one I did get when I was 18. There was no way my mom was going to sign for it before I was 18. And that's because she absolutely hates this piercing, hates the look of it. Her fiance used to make jokes saying that he was gonna hook up a leash and pull me like a cow or a bull because it reminds him of that. So I got this done on August 9th. I actually remember the day I got this done. I don't remember the days I got the other ones done, but I remember that I got this one done on August 9th of 2016. This one was quite painful. I actually still have the video of getting it done, so I'll insert that here. Oh, please don't say that right before you're about to do it.
Ready?
Oh god. Breathe in.
Fire in the hole.
Oh god.
You found the sweet spot. It went through like nothing. That was awesome. That's what I want to see.
As you can see from the video, I like jolted back because, well, not really jolted back, but I just kind of like jumped because it startled me, like the pain of it going through. And that was just the first hole. And then when he had to go through like the other side to like fully get it through, eyes were watering. It hurt so bad. And I thought because of my other piercings and the experience I already had with piercings that it wouldn't be that bad. But because of how thick that cartilage is, it hurt a lot. So I'm gonna go on to my tattoos now. I only have 4 tattoos. So my first tattoo that I ever got, I was 17. This my mom did sign for. I did have parental consent. I didn't go behind her back like I did for my tongue piercing. And the only reason why she signed for it is because of the meaning behind it. First I'll show you guys the tattoo, then I'll get into the meaning of it. So this is the tattoo right here. This too shall pass. I absolutely love this tattoo. I'm in love with this tattoo, and I'll be in love with this tattoo till the day I die. Story behind this tattoo is pretty much growing up, ever since I was 4 or 5 years old, I always remember my mom telling me, like, whenever I was sad or whenever I was mad or whenever I was just going through something like hard, she used to always tell me, this too shall pass. That saying has stuck with me for years. Like, it just means so much to me, and especially since it's coming from my mom, somebody that I look up to so much and I love so much with every part of me. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd maybe give this one a 6 or a 7. For my first tattoo, it honestly wasn't that bad. So the next tattoo that I got after that was this tattoo here. It says, darling, you'll be okay, and it has the Roman numerals for 2013. This tattoo has a lot of significant meaning for me for a lot of reasons, and I'm not going to get too into detail about it because it is quite personal. But back in 2013, 2013 to begin with was a really rough year for me. It was really tough. I was going through a lot. Because of all the tough stuff that I was going through, I ended up in the Royal Alex Hospital for a suicide attempt. Like I said, I was in a really dark place. I felt that I couldn't talk to anybody about what I was going through, and because of that I shut everybody out. I bottled everything in, and one day it just became too much. So after everything was said and done, I got out of the hospital, and because of what I went through, I wanted to get something tattooed to remind me of the place that I was in and remind me of the place I never want to be in again. That tattoo took about 2 hours to get done. For me, I found the outlining hurt a bit more than the shading. The outlining, I would give that about maybe a 7, only because the outlining is bigger, thicker needles than the shading needles, so I find those hurt a bit more because they're really trying to get the ink in there, and they're constantly going over it and over it to make sure the ink is in there and it's gonna stay in there. With shading, I found that doesn't really hurt more, and you would think that would hurt more considering shading needles, that's 7 needles, and a lining needle is 3. I would give the shading maybe a 5. I passed out during it. Some parts were kind of like it kind of stung a bit. So my last 2 tattoos, I actually got these both in the same day, so that's why I'm just going to talk about them together. First tattoo that I got was this one right here. But yeah, I got this one right here. It just says mom in the middle and then has 3 stars surrounding it. Basically, the story behind this is when I was 7 or 8, I went to go live with my dad for a year. And yes, my parents are divorced. So my dad lives in Manitoba and my mom lives in Alberta, and I was living with my mom. And I wanted to go live with my dad for a year. And the night before I went to go to Manitoba, my mom crawled into bed with me and she told me, if you ever feel homesick or you ever miss me, just look up at the stars and I'll be looking at the same one. And I just felt that much more comforted because at the thought that my mom's looking at the same star as me. And my mom is my absolute rock. She is everything to me. I love her with every piece of me. Just to have that piece of my mom always on me, I will always love this tattoo and the meaning behind it. This tattoo only took maybe 10-15 minutes. It didn't really take that long. I would say hand tattoos hurt a lot more than, like, say just getting your arm done, because your hand doesn't have a lot of flesh to it. There's not very much space between your nerves and the outside world. It does hurt typically a lot more. I would give that maybe a 9 out of 10. The other tattoo that I got in that day, and that's my last one, and that's this one right here. It just says warrior. This tattoo kind of frustrates me a little bit. I can't really do much about it now. It's kind of my fault because I wasn't really paying attention much when he was putting the stencil on, because I was really tired, so I wasn't really paying attention. We get going, we get through it, and it's all said and done, and I look down at it and I realize this little thing. And to most people this wouldn't really bug them, but for me this bugs me so much. Little piece right here that's overlapping. Like, just that little piece right there frustrates me so much, but there's nothing I can do about it now. Like I said, it's my fault because I didn't really look that closely when he had the stencil on it and was asking me if I liked where it was. That tattoo only took maybe 20 minutes. This one I would give maybe a 6.5, 7. I say 7 only because of this part right here. That's like, if you feel that part on your hand right there, you'll feel that little bone, and he had to go over that bone, so it hurt a bit over that part. That is my tattoos and piercings and the meanings behind them and how I rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys have any other suggestions for videos, put them in the comments down below. I will be reading all your guys' comments, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day, night, afternoon, whatever time it is for you guys, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.